Hey guys, I am Bhavya. In this video, I will discuss the very easy problem and the medium problem of bit manipulation. So let's look at the easy problem, or equals or. You are given an integer a, find the number of ordered pairs xy such that xy is greater than equal to 0 and less than 2 raised to a, and they satisfy the following condition: x or y is equal to x or y. In other words, the bitwise OR of both these numbers is equal to the bitwise OR of these numbers. Since the answer can be large, calculate it modulo 10 raised to 9 plus 7. A is less than equal to 10 to the power 5 and greater than equal to 0. So let's look at the first sample. So the first sample is a is 0. So we have a valid pair 0 0, and when a is equal to 1, we have three valid pairs 0 0 0 1 and 1 0. So let's look at the solution approach. So first thing to notice is that x and y are a bit numbers. So for example, if a is 3, we will have a number comprising of 3 bits, that is all the numbers from 0 0 0 to 1 1 1, that is 0 to 7. So 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 and 1 1 1. So these are the possible values of x and y. Now the condition is x or y is equal to x or y. So one thing you can notice is, if these two numbers are equal, each bit in x or y and each bit in x or y should be same. So we can solve it for each bit by bit individually. So now let's find what is the condition. So if the ith bit in x is 0 and the ith bit in y is 0, so x or y will be 0 and x or y will also be 0. If it is 0 1, then x or y will be 1, x or y will also be 1. If it is 1 0, then x or y will be 1 and x or y will also be 1. But if it is 1 1, x or y will be 1 but x or y will be 0. So we can say that these are the possible values of ith bit in x and y. So here we have x, so x should be a 3-bit number, and y should be a 3-bit number if a is equal to 3. So if we treat each bit individually, what we can have is these three cases: 0 0 0 1 or 1 0. So we can say that for each bit we have three choices. So our final answer will be 3 raised to a, because for each bit we have three choices. So for example, this case, we can say that we can have first bit 0 in both the cases, also first bit 0, second bit 0 in both the cases, and third bit 0 in both the cases. So this will be a valid pair, that is 0 0 will be a valid pair. We could have other cases as well. Let's say we take 0 0 first, then we take 1 0, and then we take 0 1. So we will see that this corresponds to 2 1, and you can see that the OR of bitwise OR of 2 1 will be 3 and the bitwise OR of 2 1 is also 3. So they are equal. So we can say that our final answer is 3 raised to a. Now you can calculate 3 raised to a using, let's say, binary exponentiation, or you could just loop from 1 to a and keep multiplying 3, because a is less than equal to 10 to the power 5. So you can do it either in log of a, or you can do it in O of a, and either will work. So let's look at my implementation. So I have used modular exponentiation here, that is I will calculate 3 raised to a modulo 10 raised to 9 plus 7, because 3 raised to a will be a very big number. So we need to calculate it modulo a given prime number 10 raised to 9 plus 7. So the idea of modular exponentiation is, if a is even, you will calculate 3 raised to a by 2 and square it. Otherwise, if it is odd, you will calculate 3 raised to a minus 1 by 2 and you will square it. So this will give us 3 raised to a minus 1, and then finally multiply it by 3 as well. And you can do it recursively. So you will call the function for a by 2 or a minus 1 by 2 recursively, and your complexity will be log of a. So let's move to the next problem, the medium problem. Diagonally powerful matrix. Robin purchases an integer matrix A of size n cross m. He wants to make the matrix diagonally powerful matrix, but he can only use the below operation. Select any element, multiply or divide it by 2. Take floor by dividing it by 2. Matrix is called diagonally powerful matrix if all the elements starting from top or left and ending at bottom or right is powerful. Diagonal is powerful if bitwise end of the numbers or the elements in the diagonal is greater than 1. Find and return the minimum number of operations required to convert the matrix into diagonally powerful matrix. So n cross m is less than equal to 10 to the power 4 and aij is less than equal to 10 raised to 7. So the first case is 2 2 1, 10 4 1 and 11 3 2. So we will change the one at 1 3 to 2. Also we will change the one at 2 3 to 2 as well, and we will change the 4 at 2 2 to 2. So we'll require 3 operations. So let's actually look at the same example and try to find out the solution approach. So let's copy the same example, 2 2 1, 10 4 1 and 11 3 2. 2, 2, 1, 10, 4, 1, and 11, 3, 2. So we have these diagonals. First diagonal, then this diagonal, 2, 1, then this diagonal, 2, 4, 2, then 10, 3, and then 11. So you want that bitwise end of each diagonal is greater than 1, and you can do some number of operations. So one thing you can notice is that each element will be present in exactly one diagonal. So we can actually solve each problem independently. That is, we are given some arrays and we need to do some operations on each element of the array so that bitwise end of the complete array is greater than 1. So we can actually solve each problem independently. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 2, 10, 3, and 11. So for a single length array, if the element is not equal to 1, for this case, we will require 0 operations because the bitwise end of all the numbers is already greater than 1. Otherwise, if it is equal to 1, we will multiply it by some number, let's say 2, 4 or anything, so that the bitwise end is greater than 1. So we'll require one operation. Now for this case 2, 1, currently the bitwise end is 0. So we can change this 1 to 2 and we will get the bitwise end as 2. So we'll require one operation here. Now for this case 2, 4, 2, we can divide this 4 to get 2. That is, we will divide it by 2 to get 2. So our array will be 2, 2, 2 and the bitwise end will be 2. So we'll require one operation here as well. Now for 10, 3, bitwise end is, so the bitwise binary representation of 10 is 1, 0, 1, 0. And the binary representation of 3 is 1, 1. So the bitwise end is 0, 0, 1, 1. Bitwise end is 0, 0, 1, 0. That is 2. So it is greater than 1. So it requires 0 operations here. So the total number of operations required is equal to 3. So now, since we have reduced the problem to an array, we don't need matrix. So our problem is that we are given an array. We need to divide some elements or multiply some elements by 2 such that the bitwise end is greater than 1. So we'll take some case, let's say 10, 3, 4, 7. So we'll take this case and we will find the minimum number of operations required in this array so that the bitwise end is greater than 1. Now one thing you can notice is if the bitwise end is greater than 1, there will be at least one bit not equal to the lowest bit which is equal to 1, because if the lowest bit is equal to 1, then the bitwise end will be equal to 1, but we want it greater than 1. So there should be at least one bit which is not equal to first bit, which is set. So what we can do is we will fix that bit and then find the operations required to set that bit in at each index. So for example, if our number is 1010 and we are setting, let's say this is 0th bit, this is first bit, this is second bit, this is third bit. So let's say we are setting second bit. So what we can do is, so one thing you can observe is both the operations are actually equivalent to shifting right or left. So for example, if we are multiplying the number by 2, we will left shift our element. So for example, if we multiply 10 by 2, our final number will be 10100. If we divide it by 2 and then take the floor, we are actually right shifting our number. So our number will be 101. So that is, we are actually left shifting or right shifting, and it is equivalent to an operation. So what we can do is we can iterate over all the bits in the number and find the number of operations required to move that bit to our final destination. So for example, if we want to move all the bits to second position, so we'll iterate over 10. We see that the first bit, 0th bit is off, so we don't have to do anything with it. The first bit is on, so we have to move the first bit to 2. So how many operations we will require? We'll simply left shift it once. So we'll require one operation for this case. Now here it is 0, so we'll ignore it. Now here it is 1. So how many operations will be required to move this bit to second position? So we can simply right shift and we'll get 101. So we'll require one operation for this case as well. So the minimum number of operations required are 1 to set the second bit on. So in the general case, if we want to move the, let's say our optimal position of placing the bit is I and the jth bit is on. So to move the jth bit to ith position will require absolute of j minus I operations, because we can either left shift or right shift by 2, that is move that bit to either to the left or to the right by one position in one operation. So let's actually take one more case. So for example, if our number is 100101, so this is 0th bit, this is first bit, second bit, third bit, fourth bit, and sixth bit. And let's assume that we are moving all the numbers to third bit. That is, we are setting the third bit on in every number. So we'll iterate over this number. 0th bit is on. How many operations will require to move this 0th bit to third bit? Will require 3 operations. Then this bit is again on. So we'll require 1 operation to move second bit to third position. So our current optimal answer is 1. And if we consider 6th bit, we will require, sorry, this is 5th bit. So if we consider 5th bit, we will require 5 minus 3, that is 2 operations to move 5th bit to third position. So our current optimal is 1. So we'll see that the number of minimum operations required will be 1. So finally our algorithm is that we will find the minimum number of operations to set ith bit for every I from 0 to 26, because 26 is the maximum number, or 25. Let's say you find some x such that 2 raised to x is greater than 10 raised to 7, so that we are sure that any bit won't be set after x. So x here comes out to be something around 25 or 26. So you can take either value. So let's actually find the answer for this case. So bitwise representation of 10 is 1010. For 3 we have 0011. For 4 we have 0100. For 7 we have 0111. So let's say we are setting first bit on in each number. Remember that we won't consider the case where we set the 0th bit on everywhere, because in that case the bitwise end will exactly be equal to 1, but we want the bitwise end to be greater than 1. So first we'll check if how many operations will be required to set the 0th bit on. So first take this the first bit on. So first take this case. We have 0, 1, 2, 3. So we'll require 0 operations here because the first bit is already on. Similarly, we'll require 0 operations here. Now here we see that 0, 1, 2, the second bit is on. So we'll require 2 minus 1 operations here, that is 1. Again, first bit is on, so we'll require 0 operations here. As you can see, the total sum will be 1. So that is the number of operations required to set the first bit will be 1. Now let's find the number of operations required to set the second bit. So our current minimum value is 1. So the number of operations required to set the second bit. Now here, second bit is off. So we can either move 1 to 2 or 3 to 2. So in either case, we'll require 1 operation. Now the second bit is again off. So we can move this one here or this one here. In that case, we'll require 1 operation. In this case, we'll require 2 operations. So the minimum operation is 1. Now second bit is already on here, so we'll require 0 operations here. Again, second bit is already on here, so we'll require 0 operations. The total number of operations required here will be 2. But it is greater than our optimum value, so we'll consider the case where we set the third bit on. Here the third bit is already on, so we'll require 0 operations. Here the third bit is off, so we can either move this bit here or this bit here. But we'll take minimum number of operations to move this bit here, that is, we'll require 2 operations. Now here we can move this bit here in 1 operation. Now here we can move this bit here in 1 operation, so the total number of operations required will be 4. But it is greater than our current optimum. So we have actually iterated over all the cases. You can also consider, let's say, other bits as well, but you will see that the optimal value will be 1. So we will require 1 operation so that the bitwise end is greater than 1. And finally, we will just sum up this value for each array obtained and return our answer. So let's look at the implementation to make it more clear. So we set n as n and m and answer as 0. Now we iterate from 0 to n. So the idea is, let's say this is our array. So we have this matrix 0, 1, 2 and 0, 1, 2, 3, let's say. So first we find all the elements in the diagonal. So our diagonal can either start from this elements and then move 1 step, or it can start from here and then move 1 step diagonally. So we start from 0 to n. So now we set row as 0 and column 0, that is we are at 0, 0. Now while r is less than n and c is less than m, we will append arc to our vector and move to and increment r by 1 and c by 1, that is now we'll be at 1, 1. Again we will set a11, we'll append a11 to our vector and we'll move to a22. Now we'll append a22 and we'll move to 3, 3. But notice that 3 will be outside of the, because we don't have any row 3. So it will be outside of this matrix. So we'll now consider the case where we take 1, 0. So we start from 1, 0 and now we append 1, 0 and then we move to 2, 1. So after appending 2, 1, we move to 3, 2. But 3, 2 is outside of the array, so we stop. So now we go from 2 0. So from 2 0 we move to 3 1, but 3 1 is outside of the array, so we stop. Now we consider these diagonals. So we start from 0 1, we append 0 1 and we move to 1 2. Now from 1 2 we move to 2 3. From 2 3 we move to 3 4, but in that case it will be outside of this matrix, so we'll start from 0 2. From 0 2 we move to 1 3. From 1 to 3 we move to 2 4, which is outside, so stop. Now we start from 0 0. From 0 3. From 0 3 we move to 1 4, which is outside of this matrix, so we stop. So in this way we actually found all the elements in the diagonal. So you can see it in the code. While r is less than n and c is less than m, we append a of r c and increment r by 1 and c by 1. Now we add the cost of v to our answer. So we'll see how to find the cost of v as we discussed. Again, we'll start from 1 to m, that is these 3 places or m minus 1 places. Now our current row is 0 and the column is I. So while again the same thing, while r is less than m and c is less than m, we append arc and increment r by 1 and c by 1 and add cost v to our answer and we return the answer. So the only thing left is to find the cost. So we assign our cost as infinity, that is 1e9 or some big number. Now we iterate from 1 to 25, that is the bit which we want to set. The bit which we want to set. So this is the current value, that actually stores the number of operations required to set the ith bit on. Now we iterate over all the elements in the vector. Now we'll find the minimum number of operations required to set the ith bit on this element. So we iterate over all the bits. If that bit is set in our number, so kth bit is set in our number and we want to set ith bit, so we'll require absolute of I minus k operations. So we find the minimum, so that we find the minimum number of operations required to set the ith bit on in our number, and we finally add this value to our current answer. And since we want the minimum number of operations, we find the minimum over all the bits, that is minimum value, minimum number of operations to set any bit on, and we finally return this answer. So what about the time complexity? So as you can see that we will iterate over each element once, and now we have a loop of 26 square as well. So our time complexity will be 26 square into n into m, because for, let's say, what is the time complexity of this cost function? So the time complexity of this cost function is 26 square into mod of v, and now we will add it over all the vectors. So this comes out to be 26 square into sum of vector sizes, which is equal to n into m, because each element will be present in exactly one vector. So time complexity is 26 square into n into m. So I hope this was clear to you. So thank you for watching this video.